Yes, so for today's boss blueprint, I saw this quote this morning that I wanted to share with you. It's not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that is most adaptable to change. And it's a quote by Leon Megason, which is who's a professor of management. But I don't know why I think that quote just sort of stuck with me a little bit today. And it got me thinking about how people as a whole are more inclined to stay the same. We don't like change. We're often resistant and hesitant to change, but comfort zone. You don't grow in your comfort zone. And if we want to have growth, improvement, innovation, all of those things come with change. But I feel like I've been talking about change a lot the last few years. Speaking of topics like switching over to digital marketing, social media, incorporating social media in businesses, that was something that for a long time people were resistant to. And then when COVID hit, everyone had to get online. And the people who had been resisting, who had been hesitant, who had been stuck in their comfort zones, were the ones that were hardest hit. They weren't able to keep themselves going or transition as quickly as others because they didn't have the infrastructure beforehand. Those who, even if they weren't proficient at it, who were at least dabbling and who made themselves familiar with it, those more often than not were the ones who were able to adapt. Yeah, so that was one area where for a long time we were having the conversation about going digital. And I had just gotten to the point where I said, you know what, we're not going anymore. We're there. And we're still having this going digital conversation. We need to stop. And that was one instance that I experienced a few years ago. But there's always this idea of change. And reflecting on myself, I have personally adapted a mindset of can I. You'll hear me say that all the time, CANI, constant and never ending improvement. You'll also hear me talk about Kaizen, which is 1% improvement at a time. Even talking about eating that elephant, knowing that there are huge things that need to be done and being intentional about taking small bites out of the bigger picture so that I'm always moving myself forward. Those were things that I adapted for myself as a professional, and in my personal life, those are things that have worked their way into the content pillars of the Boss Ladies Network. And hearing this quote, it really stood out to me that oftentimes we are working so hard to become the best and the strongest and the smartest, but we forget about that little tidbit of adaptability, being able to pivot, being able to innovate. And I think in the tech industry, innovation is a word that you hear a lot, that you hear very often, but there are other fields that are a little more hesitant and resistant to change. And it's human nature. We want to stay in our comfort zones. We want to stick with what we're familiar with. When faced with choices, more often than not, we'll go back to what we know and what we understand in resistance to trying something new that might be uncomfortable, but is basically unknown. There are a lot of points that quote that made that quote stick with me, especially today. But there's another thing that I wanted to share with you, which is Hebrews 10:35-36. This is a verse that I captured a while back, and it says, "So do not throw away your confidence; it will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere, so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised." And for those of us who are resistant or find ourselves retreating back into our comfort zone or feeling unsettled or uncomfortable when we are faced with change, I use that verse and I turn back to that as a reminder that no matter what, I can still have confidence. No matter what things look like or how they feel, it's my job to still persist, to not lose hope, to keep moving forward, even if that means doing things differently, pausing, reflecting, on what I've learned from things that didn't work out in the past, and then continuing to move forward regardless of the outcome. Um, Continuing to innovate and make intentional steps towards moving towards whatever it is that my personal goal is, work goal, life goal, all of those things. So I have another note here, just speaking about adaptability, endurance, and perseverance. How those are all connected, but you can't move forward at the end of the day if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror. I I just wanted to share that today, especially. It was just resonating with me very heavily on this day, and I um I just hope that you find encouragement through that, and that it serves as a reminder in any season, because there's one constant, it's going to be change. Things are always going to change. If you learn to roll with the punches, if you learn to be flexible and adaptable and have fun with everything you do, have joy and peace in everything you do, you will come out on top. So that's my message for today. I hope you found it helpful. My name is Georgiana of the Boss Ladies Network, and these are our Boss Blueprints, unfiltered. I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye.